Hi, this is Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours, and thank you so much for joining us for our Saturday live stream. Today, I have a special live stream. I'm going to interview Lynn, who just moved to Panama pretty recently. She came on a Panama Relocation Tour about 3 months ago and moved to Panama right away. As soon as she saw how beautiful how beautiful it is here in Panama, then she couldn't wait to get here with her dogs. I saw someone jump on Deborah from Texas, so that's why I said Texas. Anyway, Lynn's living here in Panama, and I'll let her tell you where in just a little bit. While we're waiting for everyone to come in, if you could please let us know where you're from. We'd like to kind of track where the people on the live streams are coming from. So while we're waiting for everybody to get here, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. First of all, my name's Jackie Lang. I'm the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. We started that in 2010. We offer all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night tours to take you all the way across the country to show you all the amazing places to live here in Panama. And the whole time the bus is moving, we're also teaching you how to get your dog here, how to buy a car, how to find a rental, things to be careful of. Just everything that you need to know so that you'll have a smooth move. And like I said, Lynn, our guest speaker, she went on that tour just about 3 months ago. Right now, our tours are sold out until about the middle of July. But if you're interested in coming sooner than July, we do have on the link on our website for the tours. There's a place where you can get on the backup list just in case we have a cancellation. We can notify you about a cancellation on the tour. So I also want to introduce Debbie. You see Chuck and Debbie with a little wrench sign next to her name. That's actually Debbie that's over there, and she's our moderator because there's a lot of conversations that are going on over on the side, and I can't keep up with all of those along with interviewing our guest, Lynn. So Debbie, thank you so much for being a moderator for us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest speaker. Now, here we go. Hey, Lynn, did you get something to drink?
I sure did.
Okay, good. Yeah, when you get all this talking in, then sometimes you get a tickle in your throat, so it's nice to have something to drink. So, Lynn, tell us a little bit about where did you move from and what made you kind of think about moving to Panama?
Well, I lived in Georgia for about 20 years, and I decided I wanted to retire, and I thought I wanted to live in Las Vegas near my dad. So about 6 months or so prior to coming on the tour, I moved to Las Vegas. Got there and realized I wasn't happy. I've lived out of country before, so I was thinking maybe I want to do more exploring out of country. So I started looking on the internet, and I found your Panama Relocation Tour program. And I initially started to come during the protest. Okay. So I couldn't come, but then we were able to come in December. So I guess I should be looking at this camera, right? Yeah. So we came in December. It was literally everything we could imagine. Again, you start in Panama City and you work your way through to Boquete. So we had an opportunity to experience Panama City, the beach areas, and then inland. And then once we got to Boquete, I knew this is where we were coming. I am 32 years with the federal government. So I immediately went back home and I found that with the government, there's a sweet spot when you have to retire. So I looked for that sweet spot and I had two. One was March the 23rd and the other one was going to be in August. And I remember you talking about the presidential elections and everything that was coming up. And I wanted to be on this side before that occurred. And my daughter, she came along as well under a friendly nation. So we definitely wanted to get her here before anything changed. So I came back and thank goodness when I left Georgia, I'd already sold my home. So when I was in Vegas, I just had to retire, sell my car and get everything out of that rental house. And then we were out.
Okay, good. So your daughter's name is Essence, and we'll be doing an interview with her when she gets the courage up.
Yes,
After she sees yours, I'm sure it'll be a whole lot easier.
yes.
But had she always kind of planned to move with you wherever you were going to go instead of staying back in Las Vegas with your dad?
I think she did. I know my daughter is sweet. She just turned 25 on the 18th.
Uh-huh.
And she wanted me to have my retired life and enjoy my retired life, and which I
Mhm.
appreciated. But I knew she wanted to stay next to mom.
Mhm.
And so, and she's online right now. If you see the melanoma in my melanin, that's her.
Okay.
So, so she wanted to stay.
Hi, Essence. Yeah.
So she wanted to stay close to mom. So she teach English. She has a license to teach English, and she also has, from your book, an Amazon business.
Okay, good.
Yes, she took your advice and she started a business. So she calls it arbitrage or whatever it is, a business.
Yeah, arbitrage. So for
Mm-hmm.
those of you that don't know what she's talking about, we have a free ebook that we give away. It's called Fund, Fund, Your Freedom Overseas. So if you go to our website at Panama Relocation Tours and in the upper right-hand corner, search for Fund Your Freedom Overseas, you can get that free book, free ebook, which has hundreds of different ways that you can have some kind of an online business that can support your life whenever you come here to Panama. You know, I recently just made the decision because for so long I've called our monthly Q&A calls. I called them Retire in Panama, or the conference calls, I called it Retire in Panama. But especially over the last year, we've had more and more people that were coming that they're not retirement age. They're nowhere close to retirement age. You know, people with young children, single women, single men, you know, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and that are not retirement. So I've changed it now. It's just move to Panama, because that's what it's all about, is moving to Panama. If you can retire, that's great. But sometimes you can't. Someone says, Jackie, your mic or something is covering, sounds muffled. So let me move it up here closer. I tested it all. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know. I just moved my microphone closer, so maybe that will help. So whenever you, did you think that you were going to move to Panama so soon after the tour, or once you learned that we've got an election coming up in May and that things might change in July, did that cause you to bump up your schedule a little bit on moving to Panama?
It did. I received the 6-month checklist, and that's what I was going through. I was going
Right.
to actually do the 6 months. And with the sweet spot with retiring from the government, you know, you want to pick the end of the pay period, get those annual leave and all that other good stuff. Between that and the elections, I was ready. And I think the biggest thing is that I am one of those people to where if I say I'm going to do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to make.
There you go.
Yes.
There you
And then,
go.
yes. And I lost my mom at an early age. And I did not want to pass on my own life. I don't know what's next. I only know what's here now. And I want to enjoy here now. So I wanted to come now. So.
Well, you know, after you come on the tour and you see how beautiful Panama is, and how, you know, you meet so many people that have moved here, and you see, you know, if they can do it, I know I can.
Yes.
So, you know, it just paves the way. And like you said, after you go on a Panama relocation tour, then you get the online guide, which has the 6-month checklist on, you know, do this and then do that. And if you're going to move in 3 months, you just compress it. And
I sure did.
instead of 6 months, you do it in 3 months or 2 months or 1 month. But it just gives you a list of things that you need to remember to do before you leave your country, so nothing falls through the cracks. So you
Yes.
go to Panama.
And it definitely helped having great tour guides. We had Chuck and Debbie. They were our tour guides. So every question I could have had, silly, wise, whatever, they had the answer. So that definitely made a big difference as well. So
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's what we're here for, is to help you. Now, I think, didn't you originally plan to move to you right now? Just so everybody knows, we're going to open it up for questions for Lynn at the end of the live stream. So if you could hold off on your questions until we finish this little interview, then some of your questions might be answered. I know that you moved to Alto Boquete. That's where you live now, but did you originally plan to move to Boquete? Because I know you went there and you got an Airbnb.
Yes, that was my original plan, to our original plan to move to Boquete. And it's almost like what you had mentioned. Don't have too many wants or needs because you may not get them met. My hope was to rent a home that had a casita on the same property, so that my daughter could be close, but not in the house with me. We did not find that type of property there. And like you said as well, we brought 2 dogs with us. So that kind of closed the door on some of the properties as well. But because once we got here, we talked to other PRT members and word of mouth, and we managed to come right back here to Alto Boquete. And we had the rental or the Airbnb for 2 weeks, but we actually found this sweet spot within that first week of being here, just by word of mouth.
Yeah. And sometimes you will have, you know, you're thinking, okay, I really like Volcan and I want to go there, but you look and you just don't find the right rental. But because you came on the tour, you know of other places that would be a good fit for the kind of weather, kind of social activities and things like that you want. And probably, honestly, because Essence moved with you also, Boquete is probably a better fit for her because there's more people her age that live here, so many more social activities. And I think you're going to be very, very happy living in Boquete also.
Yes, so far we are, definitely. We are.
So I know for a lot of people, the biggest challenge, you know, moving themselves, getting the documents you need, your criminal report, your proof of income, all those things are really easy. And we teach you where to go, how to get it authenticated, all of those things. But for some people, the biggest scary part is getting their dogs here, or their cats here, or their pets here. So, and you brought 2 large poodles with you.
I did, 2 standard poodles.
Yes, 2 standard poodles. So tell us about that experience.
It was nerve-wracking because of the time constraints, but it is manageable and you can do it. And I did learn, and I brought my little packet. This is basically the packet that I got when I brought the dogs. After everything was said and done, this is what that packet looks like. We used Jose Golden Frog. Very instrumental. I would recommend that to anyone who is bringing poodles, especially those that are going through cargo.
Right.
It was, what we did was, and Chuck and Debbie had shared with us, as well as the online guide, that be careful of holidays, Panamanian holidays, not just in Panama, but the consulates as well. They observe those holidays. Yeah,
the consulates, they observe Panamanian holidays and holidays for their country. So there's and then sometimes the airlines, they have blackout dates where they won't allow pets to go in cargo, like between a little before Christmas and a little bit after New Year. They won't transport pets in cargo. So there's all kinds of little things. Also, you know, because you came on the tour and you got the online guide, you know that you have to make sure they're up to date on their vaccines at least 30 days before. And then you have to have the international health certificate done 10 days before you're going to be flying. And hopefully you're working with a veterinarian that can electronically send that, if you're from the United States, to the U.S. Department of Agriculture for them to authenticate it. And then you have to get it authenticated by the Panama consulate on top of that. Now, I think you told me that you went to the Panama consulate in California is it for the pets and all of your documents?
And we actually did it for our documents as well. Living in Las Vegas or Nevada, the closest one for us would have been the Los Angeles consulate, which is actually located in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
And we came right after we left Las Vegas on March the 31st. So I can't remember what holiday was that, Easter, Holy Week or something.
Yeah.
So we left Las Vegas on the 31st, and we were planning to fly out on the 4th. So we got a hotel near the airport, because what we did was the 27th, we went to our vet who had the electronic USDA. So that was on a Wednesday. So we gave them at least the 2 days to get it back to us electronically. So that worked out perfectly. And what we didn't realize is that you can't make a pet reservation with COPA. There's a window for that as well. I think it was 10 to 15 days.
For the cargo, yeah.
Yes. So there's a time for that reservation as well. So I think we timed it pretty well. The only thing is when we got on the other side to Los Angeles, because of the holiday, we weren't expecting some of the staff in the consulate to take some extra days off. So we got a little worried about Tuesday, because our flights were coming out on Thursday, arriving Friday morning, because the pets can't arrive on the weekends. So that was kind of like our last day to get done. But we were so wonderful. The consulate in Los Angeles, which is in Long Beach, was so wonderful. We called, and I actually spoke to the general herself. And she gave me an appointment, and she told us to just rush down there. And prior to that, we had already mailed our paperwork off for our attorney. So we had that in hand. And so I'm originally from California. So I knew how to kind of take the back streets and such to get to Long Beach. So we did that. We had those in hand. And I have to admit, I kept messaging Debbie, because I was a bit nervous. So, and she kept keeping me calm, and she was like, you can do this, stay on track, and which I did. I got all that paperwork. Another thing that she helped us with too, that I didn't even think about, and you mentioned the shots for the dogs. There's that L shot that the dogs need.
Yeah.
That is not common when you take the dogs to the regular vet to get those other rabies shots.
Right.
And that shot needed to be in their system too, at least 30 days before moving to Panama.
Right.
So
I know the biggest, like you said, the biggest concern is getting your pets to Panama safely. We do have an article on our website called Bringing Your Pets to Panama that has more details about the time sensitive things that have to happen. It has a link to more information about the shots that are going to be needed and things like that. Also, once you do get to Panama, then they have to home quarantine for at least 40 days. Or at least, you can't just be out walking in the park with them. They're supposed to stay on your property or in your house. Nobody really checks on that, but, we like to dot our I's and cross our T's and follow the rules. So that's what we tell people, is that's what the rules are. So you said that you and someone asked in the questions, who was it that helped you? And it was Jose at goldenfrog.net. He only handles the things on the Panama side. You have to handle everything on the Canadian side, or on the U.S. side, or the German side, as far as making sure the shots are up to date, getting the health certificate, getting the authentication by the Agriculture Department, getting the re-authentication by the Panama consulate. You have to do that part. But just knowing that you have somebody that's waiting for you whenever your plane arrives here in Panama to greet your pets, get them inspected by the veterinarian, get everything stamped and signed, and then perhaps help you get to a hotel with your pets so you can just, take a chill before you continue on with your journey. Did you do that? Whenever you arrived, did you spend a night in Panama City before you came further west, or did you go ahead and go further west right away?
We went further west right away, because we did have the Airbnb waiting for us in Boquete. And the great thing about Jose's Golden Frog, he also offers a transportation service.
Right.
So we hired him for both. And Both was wonderful. We got off the plane. Copa also was wonderful. We watched the dogs come off the plane first before any luggage. They brought our dogs off right off. By the time we cleared customs, got to our bags, Jose was over there waving, letting us know, he was there with our pets at customs. We got the bags around there. He had the pets there. We went out. Once we got to the outside of PTY, he showed us where the pet area was. Mm-hmm. So we were able to take the pets there while he started loading the van with our belongings. Yeah. And we just drove straight.
It's just to know what to do. And, that's what we do at Panama Relocation Tours, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. But to have someone standing there at the airport to help you with your pets, it's just a total peace of mind. And some people hire a pet relocation company. But the problem with that is that your pets are not on the same plane that you're on. So that makes it a little bit even more nerve-wracking to be separated. At least when you're on the same plane with your pets, then it gives you a little bit more peace of mind.
Yes. I see my uncle just tuned in. Quit using my government name.
Okay. Hey, Lynn's uncle. Thanks for being here. Yeah. So I hope he comes down to Panama and sees what what a beautiful country this is.
I do too.
Yes. So you got to your Airbnb and you got settled, and maybe you looked for a rental in the Boquete area, but just nothing was clicking, nothing was working out. So that's when you decided to come over to Boquete. And I just happened to see on Facebook you put a picture up that said you were at your favorite breakfast place, and I knew exactly where you were, and it was not in Boquete. So I sent you a private message and I says, hey, Lynn, because my guess was you hadn't found what you were looking for in Boquete, so you'd come over here. And I said, if you're looking for a rental, this is who you need to contact. Yes. And just like that. Within a day or two, you had the rental that was just what you needed.
Absolutely. And though we didn't get the rental house with the casita on the side, we actually found an area that had 2 casitas. Well, actually it's 5 here, but 2 casitas came open at the same time, which was perfect for both myself and my daughter. Mm-hmm. And again, like some of the things you post on our Facebook page, the price, all utilities included, it's true. And it's boots on the ground. It's literally boots on the ground.
Yeah. It's, we really encourage people. It's so tempting, especially when you're coming here with pets. You want to have someplace you can just move to and be settled when you get here. And so people are very tempted to rent something without actually seeing it first. Mm-hmm. And that can get you into so much trouble that we get, that has caused more problems than anything else. So you did it the right way to get an Airbnb for a little while and then physically go look at the rentals to see what they look like. It's a sad situation, but sometimes with rentals that you see on Facebook or Craigslist or real estate agent websites, the pictures that you see is not a true representation of what it looks like today. It might have been a picture from 10 years ago, or, you can't see by the picture, what does the neighborhood look like? Do you hear barking dogs? Do you hear roosts? Are they fighting roosters next door to you that make a lot of noise? So you can't see that in a picture. So it's really important to do it the right way, like you did, and the way we teach people. Come here, get an Airbnb or hotel for a couple of weeks, and then physically go look at the rental properties.
Yes. And another thing I noticed too is that wide angle they use on those cameras, and it gives the impression that the place is larger than what it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. So have you already started the visa process?
We both have, yes. Once our attorney is Javier Perez, and once he knew we were coming in advance, and we let him know that we were actually in Panama. So we, and again, through the PRT connections, we were able to get a driver that is very reasonable, and he takes us to the VED and brings us back. So we've been down a few times to do shopping and to see the attorney. He was glad to see us. I would recommend him to anyone. And so both of the processes have already started for my pensionata and her friendly nations as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. So you're getting settled in.
Yes. I had John Badger came by. He set up our VPN for us.
Yeah.
Again, that's in the guide. The guide is practically the Bible for Panama. If you follow it, you just can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong.
Yeah, we've added a whole new section of if you need a vet, depending on where you live, we've got a list of veterinarians that'll come right to your house. We've got people that'll set up your Amazon Fire Stick for you. We've got, immigration attorneys, real estate people, healthcare providers, just everything that insurance agents, just anything that you might possibly need. It's available right in the guide. So, you've had a pretty smooth move, it sounds like, moving to Panama. But what would you say were some of the things that were the biggest challenge for you, other than the time frame of getting your pets here? What other challenges have you had?
Other than that, I think mostly it was probably, even though I tried to leave it at the border, we are 10 a.m. for this, 10:30 for that. I scheduled this and I want to do this at that time. Yeah. You really have to leave that at the border. Yeah. You have to know, and I guess even because I had just retired and I guess my mindset was still in that mode as well. And then when I finally settled in, I'm like, well, gosh, I'm retired too, Yeah. And so it was just, I wanted to go. And I says, no, you just have to take your time here.
Well, and part of the other thing that you need to do, and we have an article called "The 9 Mistakes New Expats Make." You need to read that article.
Yes.
But one of the things it says is don't schedule too many things in the same day. So, for example, if you have John Badger scheduled at 10 o'clock to come and do your Fire Stick, but it's raining and he's a little bit late, but you have a 12 o'clock appointment to get your nails done, and then you got a 2 o'clock appointment for this, or, if you schedule too many things, then that's going to put you right back in that time constraint situation that you were just getting rid of.
Yes. And that's literally what I did, because just as you mentioned, I scheduled a couple of things on the same day that John was coming. So I'm on the phone with John and someone's at the door. And so thank goodness my daughter was able to come over and help kind of, take care of that. But you are so right about that. Yes.
Yeah. Just don't schedule too many things. Just take time to tranquilo.
Yes.
Yeah. So have you been, I know that you've been out shopping at some of the bakery stores, and you've been out, to the fish market to shop there, and grocery stores and other places. As far as shopping goes here in the Panama, have you been able to find most of the things that you're looking for?
I have. I was a bit worried because I'm a pescatarian. So at first we went to Super Baru and I only found frozen fish.
Yeah.
And then just walking down the street, we met a PRT couple. And they told us about the Boquete fish market, which was really next door to Tigo.
Next door to Tigo. And they have fresh fish.
Yes. Yeah. And Chuck told us about Tigo. And the gentleman in Tigo spoke English. So that really helped a lot.
And by the way, Tigo is a cell phone company. You can also get your internet set up with them. If you don't have internet, doesn't come with your rental, you can get internet for your house. But they speak English at the Tigo place, and it's really good. Right next to it is that seafood market with fresh fish. And, you never know what they're going to have. Some days you go and they have a lot of tuna. Some days they don't have tuna. Some days they have a lot of corvina. Some days they have a little, it's just whatever they caught that day. There's also usually on Tuesday, right next to Big Daddy's restaurant, there's a guy in a red pickup truck named Miguel, and he brings fish that was just caught that morning. So Tuesday morning, usually about 9 o'clock, and you'll see the whole great big gigantic fish, and he'll cut the fillets the way you want it and make sure there's no bones and do all those things. So watch for Miguel. parked in his red truck right outside of the Big Daddy's restaurant.
I'll be there Tuesday.
Yeah, and super fresh fish, both of those.
But everything has been wonderful. We got here, Essence broke her glasses. We were able to find an optical shop, Optical Vega.
Right.
Everything is in walking distances. It didn't take a lot out of us. We are just, the shopping is wonderful. I wear Crocs. I haven't been able to find my Crocs yet, but someone told me they have them in Panama City. And I do remember seeing a shop at the Multi-Plaza when we were there.
Yeah.
So,
I think they have them at the Lorena department store also. So check there.
And we met a gentleman named David at one of the luncheons we had with Chuck and Davy, and he mentioned Lorena. So that seems to be a pretty popular place.
Yeah.
So
It's right across from mailboxes, etc. And it looks tiny, from the front, but you walk in and it opens up to this huge department store with clothes and shoes and, household things and all kinds of stuff. So go check out Lorena.
Definitely. And that you mentioned mailboxes, etc. That's where I took care of my business for Rodney Direct. So I got signed up for that as well. So that's been a plus.
And Rodney Direct, for people that don't know, it's rodneydirect.com. It's a service that you sign up with them, you fill out a form, they assign you a number. So if you have some kind of an emergency, like you need a doctor, you need an ambulance, you need the police, you get a flat tire on your car, you get pulled over by the cops and you don't know what in the world they're saying, you just call Rodney 24/7. He's bilingual and he's there to help you. So it's kind of like a 911 and a AAA all rolled into one with Rodney. And I think he charges $90 a year. It was $80, but now it's $90 a year. And it's just, once again, peace of mind to know that someone's there to help you with everything. So you mentioned that after you got here with your dogs, that you had Jose, a golden frog. He drove you and your luggage and your dogs from Panama City over to Boquete. Some people fly over there, but after such a long flight with the dogs, it's nice to just be with them and not put them in a plane again. Last thing they want to do is get in a plane again. It's going to stress them. So even though it's a long drive, an 8-hour drive, just knowing that your pets are right there with you and your luggage and everything makes it easy.
It did. And Jose, he knows the route. So he knew pretty much where to stop for rest stops or restroom breaks or to let the dogs or to stretch their legs. So it really wasn't a hard trip. And you know how when you go somewhere for the first time, it seems like it's very far away. But because we had done the PRT tour, pretty much on that same route, we kind of knew as we were going, oh, we're almost in Santiago. Oh, we're almost here. So it kind of made it fun to kind of relive those same things that, we had already saw.
Yeah, relive those same things. If it's okay with you, I'm going to open it up for some questions from our audience. So if anybody has a question for Lynn about her moving to Panama, if you would please type it into the chat window, but put 3 question marks in front of it, so I can easily identify it as a question. So first one here is, how did you document your federal pension for the visa?
It's the same process for if you're receiving Social Security. You have to show your award letter, basically showing how much you will receive monthly. And that was it, pretty much.
So Mark said, please explain a bit more about how you use word of mouth to find a place to live. So is that how you found your rental, or was it with our recommended real estate agent?
It was sort of both. In the Facebook page, when we were in Boquete, I was reading where some people were mentioning names. I think someone mentioned the owner of Barrico's had some connections, or was it, I think his name is Jaime. May be able to assist. So when I saw things like that, I would shoot emails to them. There was a gentleman, Wilbur, I believe, that's in the book.
Wilbur, yes, he has
Mhm.
rental, but I think he's all full right now.
He is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had to share
But
that with me.
it would have been a great location because he would have usually would have two right next to each other.
Yes. So it was more of that. And then I believe Boquete had more expats. I would say I would come across, walking downtown
Mhm.
and such. And then people kind of, I won't say they recognize you, but I think they kind of almost like the bugs, they recognize you're new. So, they kind of wave and look at you. And so they just start talking to you, and then you start talking to them. And so we just started getting all of these recommendations. And
Right.
just, mm-hmm.
So someone says, so you moved prior to getting your visa. Yeah, you waited till you got moved here and got settled to get your visa. And that's one of the things that I recommend that people do is it saves money. If if you've spent the money to come on a tour and the airfare to come on a tour, and then if you have to come and get a visa before you move here, that's another extra expense. So you can save money if you wait and get your visa after you move here. The only exception to that is if on your national criminal report, if somebody has some dings on their national criminal report, I would highly recommend that you get a copy of your FBI report or RCMP and send that to an immigration attorney and say, am I going to be able to get a visa with this on it? Because you don't want to move you and your pets and perhaps household goods and other things here until you're pretty sure that you can get a visa. But if you've got a clean national criminal report, come on down. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to get that visa.
Absolutely. And the fingerprinting, once you get that done, that paperwork is good for about 6 months.
Right.
So I timed it I got it in March, knowing we were moving in April. So that gave us all of those months on the back end if something was to happen.
Yeah. Let's see. M. Knowles, I think she must have come in late. She talked about the process for getting her dogs flying on COPA. You have to get the International Health Certificate 10 days before your flight. You have to book them in cargo 10 days before your flight. Mm-hmm. And then that health certificate has to be re-authenticated if you're from the U.S. by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and also by the Panama Consulate. So it's a very time-sensitive process. And with cargo, for pets to go in cargo, you can't book the flight until 10 days before. That doesn't mean that 30 days before you can't start having a conversation Correct. With them. And I would highly recommend that you do that, because if you call them and they say, well, we've already got, 4 dogs and we can't do 2 more, we can only do 1 more. If you find that out 30 days in advance and you need to book a different flight. So you need to start having that conversation with whatever airline that you're flying with. Don't wait till 10 days before. You can't reserve the flight, but you can have that conversation before.
And what I did find too is when I did go into COPA, it's not like there's several different people. There was one particular person named Anna that you had to speak with. And like you said, I wasn't the squeaky wheel, but I let her know I was out there.
Yeah.
And in my time frame, and we ended up getting a great rapport. So when it was time,
follow up. Yeah. And it just brings you to the front of their mind that, Lynn and Essence or their dogs are coming. It doesn't hurt to remind them every week, prior to coming. And they can't book it, but they can sort of save you some slots.
Absolutely.
For your dogs to come. So that conversation needs to happen in advance.
And I would say the one thing that I'm glad that we did do is they told us to take the dogs to the transport area at about 7 p.m. No, 8 p.m. But we got there at 6 and we used every bit of that time. It is a time, it is a consuming time just to get them, because they have to check the crates. They have to make sure they're all tied up and everything is done correctly. So that was very time consuming. And they told us to come at 8, and our flights were leaving, I think we left at 2 a.m. and they were actually on the same flight as us. But I'm glad we did go in earlier because we used every bit of that time. So
right. So for your FBI report, did you get that in Los Angeles, or did you go to a Chandler in Nevada and get it?
What we did was we went online. We went to there was something in your book. So we clicked on that and they gave us a fingerprinting place. I guess
Right.
that's Chandler. And we
Yeah.
went in there. We got the appointments almost immediately. We
Yeah.
went in, and what you get back first is that black and white emailed copy.
Mhm.
But that one would require another step. So we waited until we got those hard copies back. And those are the things that we mailed to the consulate.
Right.
We had them tracked. We got those back probably 10 days, something like that. And then we had them. I sent them on to Javi. Well, we sent pictures of them to our attorney. He said they were fine, and he said we can bring them with us. And I'm older now. I'm 57. I'll say that. But when I was 18, I lived in California, and I got stopped by the police, and I told them I was my sister. So even though I was not,
So you were a wild child, huh?
yes, I was, and I'll admit that. And so I told them I was my sister. Someone in the vehicle told them my real name, so they arrested me. I spent one night, overnight, didn't have to pay a fine, none of those things. But it was on my criminal report. And that was when I was 18, and I'm 57 now. So I was shocked to see it because I had been in the military, 32 years, federal government, secret clearances. None of that came up, but it came up for this. So I had to send that to my attorney as well. And he took a look at it and he said, oh, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
So just as you mentioned, I sent it in advance in case I couldn't come. And he said that was nothing. So
Yeah, and that's the thing is you might think that, oh, I had something when I was 18 years old and that's probably long gone, but you'd be surprised what might show up on your criminal report. So anybody that's thinking about moving to Panama, I would encourage you to get your criminal report, especially if you were a wild child in your younger days or something might have happened prior. Wouldn't hurt to go ahead and get your criminal report. And if there is something that shows up on there, just, you can email it to an attorney and say, is this going to be a problem? And they'll let you know. Yeah, maybe it will, or maybe it won't. So you were lucky.
yes.
So since you've been here, have you been able to find the pet supplies that you need for your dogs? Have you found the good pet stores?
I found good pet stores. What I do notice is the cost of dog food is almost 3 times the amount it is in the States.
Wow.
For these little bitty bags. Let's see. I have one here. This bag here, it's 4 pounds. This was $17.
That's ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
You need to go to Price Mart. The food
And
is a lot
That's what
cheaper
I'm
at
gonna
Price
do.
Mart. You could get like a 50-pound bag for that price.
Yeah, so this is, I thought that was a bit much. He did not use pedigree in the States. We did a Purina Pro plan, which was kind of like a special kind of diet for him. But he's adjusting well to this. I had to get used to the name because he's still a puppy, but that means puppy.
Let me tell you where you can get that dog food in Boquete at a more affordable price. There's a store, where Romero's grocery store is, a little bit north of there is a store called Milo, Melo. And it's kind of a farm and garden store, but they have a huge selection of pet food. And they'll have that pro plan there at pretty good prices.
I'll definitely go in there.
Okay. And then also in Alto Boquete, next to Uno Express, and also there's a grocery store called Gago, Gago. There's a pet store there that has a very large selection of pet food.
Because we can walk to El Dorado. Is that the one across from Gago?
Yes, yeah.
We can walk there from where we live, so we just haven't crossed the street to Gago. So I'll go there
You
next.
just have to cross the street. And, that's the thing, whenever you move here is, it just takes a while. to find the right place to go. Where's the best place to get my nails done? Well, you got, 40 choices, but where's the one that's best for you? And where's the best place to get my dog food? Or where's the best place to get fresh seafood? Or all the other things. It just takes a while, and trial and error, asking people, where do you buy your dog food?
Yes, and I like what you said before on previous lives, that you have to kind of get used to going to different places. You get some things here and some things there. So it's kind of an adventure for me now. I actually enjoy it. What can I find here, and will I find it over there? So
yeah. And then, there's some things that you can only get at one certain store, but it just takes a while. So we got another question that came up that said, how's the noise factor where you and your daughter live?
It's pretty quiet. What we did notice, and what we learned was, we got our Airbnb. It was on the main road in Boquete. So we realized when we did go to rent, we did not want anything on the direct main road, because you can hear those trucks go by.
Breaks.
Yes. So we realized that then. So, but where we are, I guess it's not a farm, but they use the word farm. I don't know.
Finca.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. So that's where we are, and we're on a private property pushed back from the road. So it's pretty, where Boquete. Yeah. So it's pretty quiet. You do hear maybe the neighbor's dogs, maybe they might get into it in the middle of the night.
Or when the trash truck comes, they go crazy.
Yes. But for the most part, it's pretty quiet. We live near trees, which is beautiful, because when you're sleeping, sometime when the wind is going, it almost feels like you hear the beach, the waves or something. But yes.
Great. So someone says, who will maintain your sister locks?
Yes. Prior to leaving the States, I took a retightening class. So I have been retightening my own, and I'm wearing my glasses because I don't have any hair color up there just yet. So, but I have been maintaining my own locks since I've been here. And I have found some products, not a lot of products, but I am finding products.
So there's a place in the Alto Dorado Shopping Center, where the Alto Dorado grocery store is. Right next to it is a place called Ladies, Ladys. They can take care of everything for you right there.
Thank you.
It just takes a while. It takes a while to learn where to go.
Yes.
So as long as you have applied for the pension, but you have not yet been approved yet, can you move there and wait for the approval? So the way that it works with Pensionado visa is you can go ahead and move to Panama, and then after you move here, you can apply for the Pensionado visa. You'll get a temporary card that's good for about 6 months, and then usually within 4 or 5 months, you'll get a resolution that says you've been approved for your visa. So yes, you can definitely move here before you get your visa. Now, if you move here and you don't apply for a visa, you can only stay for 180 days. But if you apply for a visa, then you can stay. So I know I missed a couple of questions up here. So for anybody that's Lynn, for anyone that's thinking about moving to Panama and curious about moving to Panama, what advice would you give them?
I would say come on the tour. If you can't afford the tour, you can't afford to live here. And I just say that teasingly, but the tour is well worth it. It gives you, even if you're not sure where you want to live in Panama, you can start in Panama City. And when you get there, you're like, oh, I think I want to live in Panama City. Then you get to the beach areas and you go, oh no, I want to live in the beach. Yes.
Yes. Then you get to Chitre and you say, well, this looks like a cool place. And
yes.
It's so affordable. So yeah, it just opens up your options. So many people, they've watched all the videos and they've said, okay, this is where I'm moving to. And they don't even look at other places, which is, it works out fine for some people. But just, follow our advice and don't buy anything.
Correct. And that's so tempting. It's tempting. Yes, because you see so many beautiful places and you see so many things, but you have that same amount of opportunity with rental properties. And what I told my daughter I plan to do, because she still work, I don't, we're going to stay here. I'm going to keep the place I am here for at least a year. But I will, because the prices are so low, I may go spend 30 days at the beach area. I'll rent a place, for a temporary time in the beach area, or maybe in Panama City. But this will always be, where I come home to.
Right. So Lee had a question. Is there a minimum number of days you must be physically present in Panama to maintain permanent residency? So to maintain permanent residency, you have to come back to Panama at least one day every 2 years. That's the only requirement. There's no requirement to actually live here. And let me go to scroll down here and see if we have some other questions. I clicked on it. What paperwork do you need for a temporary visa? So the paperwork depends on which visa you're going to get. But the first thing you're going to need is your national criminal report, FBI from the US, RCMP if you're from Canada. And then for the pensionado visa, you need proof of lifetime income of at least $1,000 a month for one person. Add $250 if you're married, so $1,250 if you're a couple. That's for the pensionado visa. If you're getting the Friendly Nation visa, there's 4 different options for the Friendly Nation visa. So the answer is it all depends on which visa you're going to get, but it all starts with getting that national criminal report. And what is the shot that dogs need to have 30 days in advance? So if you go to our website, to PanamaRelocationTours.com, and do a search for pets, there's an article about bringing your pets to Panama, and there's a link to some information about the list of shots that your dogs are going to need to be able to bring them to Panama. It has to happen at least 30 days in advance. So let me do one more question over here. I want to apply for a pensionado visa and I have the funds. What's the best way to get started? I have a pension that requires me to return to the US every 6 months. So the best way to get started, I would say, is get the online Panama Relocation Guide. Let me put a link to it up here. If you go to our website and you click on Online Guide, then get that online guide, and it's going to give you information about all the documents you're going to need to get a visa. It's going to give you recommendations for immigration attorneys. It's going to give you just all the information you need for moving to Panama. So get that online Panama Relocation Guide if you're not planning to come on a tour. So, are you planning to get health insurance?
I plan to get health insurance using your guide. I'm 57, so I don't qualify for the Medicare, Medicaid, such. I am currently still insured from the states, but I do plan to, because I'm I'm in good health. So I do plan to pick something from the guide. I have been studying that. I haven't picked anything just yet, but I have been looking at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have recommendations in the online guide to insurance brokers that will give you all the different options that you have available. Also, a lot of people, especially if you're in good health, and if you have some kind of an insurance that's going to cover any emergencies that you have, like your federal insurance would cover any emergencies that you have here in Panama, just routine doctor visit is $15, $20. Specialist is $40. So some people choose to not get insurance here, which sounds so crazy from a country where, you just have to have insurance because you can go bankrupt if you got sick. Yes. But in Panama, that's just not the case. So you have insurance that's going to cover any major medical emergencies that you might have. And just for routine care, going to a regular doctor, about $15, or go to the little clinic across from the fire station, and it's $2 to see a doctor here. So getting health insurance isn't always top of the priority for people.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, my daughter, and I know I'm definitely going to drop my eye insurance because my daughter, she broke her glasses while we were here, and we went to the optical shop. She got an exam, a full exam. She got brand new glasses, and all of that cost her $140. That's the exam, the new glasses, and they came within 3 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, everything's more affordable.
Yes.
Except dog food.
Yes. Right now.
But you're gonna find the places that have more affordable choices for dog food.
Yes.
So Monique from London, who's here every single Saturday, by the way, she says, do you find it easy to get around without a car? You said that you're in Alto Boquete. Do you use the local buses?
Yes, first shout out to Monique, because usually I'm on that side with you. Hi, I'm on this side today. And I do in Alto Boquete. I'm an avid runner anyway. So exercise for me is wonderful. So I don't plan on getting a car, and I walk everywhere. There's 2 mini supers near my house. There's a restaurant nearby, and like I say, we can walk to the supermercados. We walk down Boquete Road. It gives us a good exercise, but we generally do take a taxi back, and mostly because we have things. We purchase things in the shop. So, someone asked about August. August just walked in. That's August.
Yeah, look at that baby. Do they like living in Panama?
They do. The plane ride, I think, maybe.
Dog.
Thank you. I think it scared them a bit because maybe for the first 2 days, a lot of bumping sounds kind of shook them a bit. But after that, went right back to their normal selves.
Okay. And Jackie Smith wants to know, have you had any language problems?
No. We started Duolingo before we came here. For some reason, I can read Spanish better than I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps out a lot. And my daughter is picking it up quicker than I am. So I sort of kind of use her as an interpreter, but I do listen. And it is my goal to take Spanish classes once I get settled.
That's great. That's great. So Kelly says, wow, your dog is cute. Yeah, it's very cute.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so much for sharing your experience of moving to Panama. I know you and Essence are going to be so happy. And because you're part of the PRT family, you can reach out to me or anybody else in the PRT or Panama Relocation Tour group. And we're all right here to help you.
Yes.
Where do I get this? Where do I get that? How do I do this?
Yes.
You've got your complete support system right here to take care of everything.
Yes, and I saw one question, maybe twice, so I'll answer it real quick. Someone asked about cost of living in this area, and I will share. I'm in a 2-and-2 casita, all inclusive, including internet, propane, electricity, up to I think $25 a month, something like that. And I pay about $1,000 a month. My daughter is in a 1-and-1, and she pays less than $600, and hers is all included as well.
Yeah, so it's a good price.
Yes.
Yeah, especially on Boquete Road, and that's a newer property.
It is.
Yeah, it's very modern, a very newer property. So you scored.
I feel like I did.
To be able to find them right next to each other. So congratulations. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you and Essence and for your fur babies to be here in Panama. You're going to love your life here. I'm right here to help you if you need anything.
We appreciate it. And we appreciate the PRT family as well, because they and you have been most helpful since we've been here.
Thank you. So I would also want to thank everybody we have 404 people on our live stream. I want to thank the 404 people on our live stream for being here to hear Lynn's story about her and that what's your dog's name?
August.
August.
And Sunday.
Okay. So thank you so much for being here on the live stream to hear Lynn's story about moving here. I'm so glad that you found just the right place for you in Essence,
Yes.
and for your fur babies too. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, Lynn, and everybody else. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.